Blessed love, royal family. Give thanks for your presence with us. We give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie first. And of course, it is with joy that I am welcome each and everyone into the Tiger's Nest this evening. This is somewhat of a special edition of the Tiger's Nest. We are now broadcasting as well. We are streaming live to Radio Anu. That's Radio Anu specifically, which is on the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Network, priestisaacinstitute.com. And of course, we are at the same time streaming live on the YouTube. And I'm just very thankful, pardon, everyone who has already come in to join us, even on the YouTube platform. So since we are broadcasting this, as they call it, live, to me, we're always live because we're never dead. But you know what I mean, or you know what I'm saying. We are just awaiting for, the audience to come in. And let me just say for the video watchers, this is going to be, if you're looking at this like you're watching maybe a rebroadcast of this session here, this more than likely is going to be one of them lengthy videos, In fact, I'm going to speak of something right now that is not directly the subject, pardon me. So I'm just letting you know, some of us, taking too long to start the subject. Sometimes I feel we are so immature. Eh? Family, this Thursday, which is the 7th day of April, we will be, and I'm happy to say, officially having the prize giving ceremony for this year's Priest Isaac's African History Month essay competition. Let me just give you an idea of exactly how the invitation looks. That specifically is the invitation, and your name would go right here. You get the invitation, and this will be for those of you who are on the ground. This is going to be on Thursday evening. This is Thursday at 7 p.m. sharp. This will be at the Heritage Key Hotel. And the whole aspect of it, as I said, this is the official prize giving ceremony for this year's 9th official essay competition. So we give thanks, 9 years strong, since we have been doing such a program, and this year we have 3 winners. We will be officially announcing those winners as well to the national community as well as the international community. So we're very thankful, and of course we're thankful for all those who partnered with us, those who would have sponsored, contributed, etc. It is, give thanks, great joy. I will say that the contributions and the donations, of course, they did not reach to the level of the budget, not even close. But it's okay, because this mission here is to make sure that the young minds find a love for the Afrocentricity. I do not know if everyone understands or comprehends why is it that we do this essay competition every year. I will say that this sit down tonight wasn't really about that, and I wouldn't go too far into it. But since you're here to spend some time with me, let me just say something about it. In fact, before I go thus far, let me just give you an idea of the prizes. So, as I said, we have 3 Of course, we usually have 3 categories. So we have 3 winners this year, pardon me, and well, all these years. And I'll be giving you more information on who won in the very near future, at least by Friday. So this is just one of the gifts. This is a Fire 7 tablet. Very good, 16 gigabytes. I think that's what that's all about there. And then that's it there. That's a Fire 7 tablet. One of the blessed children will be receiving that gift. Also, we have another tablet. This is an Android tablet PC. I think this one is more related to the Google itself. This is a very, very, very deep and in-depth product itself. Something that an individual can use and do many, many good things. So those are 2 of the prizes specifically. They are just so everyone could see. And these prizes go to the winners of the essay competition. Oh wow, this one is heavy. This is a brand new Dell laptop. Brand new Dell laptop. This specifically also, you could say, specifically goes to the grand prize winner. This is a brand new laptop. I only see it come on to make sure that everything is in order. Nothing used, nothing secondhand, everything brand new. We make sure that these prizes are available for the young minds. Of course, those of you on radio and you may not be actually seeing what I'm showing the audience, but it's all right. I'm not spending too much time on that subject, just giving the audience an idea of exactly what is taking place, even behind the scenes, even as we go through this work. Also, let me also highlight, these are also some of the items that we'll be offering as gifts for those who would have won, the competition. This is actually a knapsack, in the African formation. This is actually a knapsack, a bag, like a school bag that the young ones could use. And, definitely. I know some of you bored, some of us, we don't like children. Yeah, I'm serious. Trust me, I'm in it, I'm in it. And it's a saddening thing. Some of us, we ain't like children, even though we have children. Yeah, nothing when it comes to youth interests us. Yeah, we just want to know when is the next debate. Yeah, you know what I mean? And who can prove who wrong? It's disgusting, to be very honest. So just showing you again another one of the, the beautiful prizes that the young ones would be winning, plus some other financial prizes as well. The children will be getting some financial prizes, as well as different other gifts, classes, computer classes, etc. And of course, we also will be providing certain books that are needed within the curriculum that they have established. So this is, this English for Life. As you know, we ourselves have an international homeschool program where we offer English itself as a free course, especially if you are already a part of the international homeschool program. As you know, we also offer biology, and this is a biology for CSEC. For those of you who are not in the Caribbean, CSEC is a Caribbean examination related to the Caribbean Examination Council, and of course, mathematics. So we have several of these books that we are giving out to the participants, those who would have even just entered into the competition itself. So just giving you an idea, family. So one can understand, this ain't just about talk. And at least, it gives you an awareness sometimes even before you yourself talk. But I'm very thankful again for those who would have participated this year, those who would have won, and those who would have put forward their best efforts, or best foot, I should say, as far as writing their essays and bringing forth this competition to its fullness. So Thursday evening, family, of course, you will get the highlights, and it will not be virtual, please, maybe next year, but you'll get the highlights specifically, of course, maybe when we sit in for Chalice Talk. Now, let's not waste any more time there. We're talking about God, the woman. Although those of you who are looking at this on the YouTube, you may see, some questions asked. Is God a man or a woman or both or neither? It'd have to be one of those answers. It's either a man, a woman, or both or neither. I mean, to me, I don't know what would be the fifth. What would be the fifth option? Good. So why would we ask that question? Now again, the statement was made before the question. God, the woman. And we're actually doing this tonight in somewhat of continuing the celebration of the Earth Day of Empress Menen. And Empress Menen's Earth Day celebration, one of these days would have been, some say the 3rd and some say the 2nd of April. Of course, most ones would celebrate the 25th of March. Well, when I say most ones, I would say maybe in Rastafari. But if you do your research, as it relates to Empress Menen, you will always find yourself coming across these dates, the 25th of March or the 2nd of April or the 3rd of April. I think more so I would have come across the 25th of March more so than the others. But to me, as I've always said, it's okay. Any which one, when the 25th day of March comes around, we celebrate. And what's mystic about that time is that that's just coming off of the celebration of the Bobo Shanti Women's Freedom Liberation League. In fact, I wouldn't even say coming off of. The Freedom Liberation League celebration would be the 23rd day of March, and Empress Menen's Earth Day would be the 25th day of March. So you could see the heavens there connecting, and the way that the order has been set, where everything just flow into one. But again, we are highlighting now the 3rd of April or the 2nd of April, depending. And that is also one of the time frame that ones recognize the Earth Day of the Honorable Empress Menen. Now, of course, Empress Menen stands out, even if you do not know her. Let's just say you know of her and you understand, somewhat of the history of her. But really, she stands out because she's obviously the wife of Negus and Nagas, the King of Kings, Emperor Haile Selassie I. And what is also significant about her is that the way that she stepped into that imperial position, and I'm speaking of literally being the Empress of Ethiopia, was extremely unique, being that according to the traditions that we have been told of, the King of Ethiopia would be crowned, and the Empress would be crowned like a few days after, 2 or 3 days after, as some people would say, in a less elaborate sort of ceremony. Now, it was not so when it came to Empress Menen. Empress Menen was crowned with the Emperor of Ethiopia at the same time, in the same place, basically in the same way. And the whole power thereof is to show a very royal balance. At least that's how I interpret it. That there is that natural balance between male and female. Now, of course, again, the royal negus himself, Emperor Haile Selassie I, because of a lot of prophecy and history and putting it together, many have come to the conclusion that, hey, Haile Selassie is the Almighty God. Some would say Haile Selassie is the returned Messiah. Some would say Haile Selassie is Jesus Christ in flesh, the return of Christ. Some would say, well, he's God, but I wouldn't go as far as Almighty God because they can't see God. You see, so when you come into God talk, there's so many different outlooks, and even when you narrow it down to Haile Selassie, there's still different outlooks and many different variations. Ones will tell you, yes, he is divine, but we do not pray to him. You cannot pray to no human being. And, it goes on and on. I'm not going too far into that, of course. We would have recently covered that subject area, I think, in good and clear understanding. But now, Empress Menen, again, whatever titles and whatever divinity that you would lay on the Emperor Haile Selassie I, just because we have not gone into who she is yet, or character or anything, but just observing from a distance, because a lot of us, we never really know the Emperor. When we accept the Emperor, a lot of us never know the Emperor yet. Is the Bible we know now. A lot of us is the Bible, and how the Bible points to this man, we don't decide, yay, this is the man. And then we started to learn about the Emperor. Let's admit, those of us who would have been in the faith for a while now, for years, even those who just come in, many of you just come in and you're seeking more knowledge. Well, we're all seeking more knowledge, but you're down there, man. You're on the runway. You're not ready to take off. You haven't taken off yet. You're not flying, but you already accepted. So that's why you tune in. That's why you link in, because you want to learn more about the king that you have accepted. Sometimes when you learn certain things, you go home and think about it. Say, wow, I didn't know that. What? So the king used to do that for real? Wow. Because that will happen, especially when you're trying to beat out the religious thought out your mind and the old time Christian thinking. A lot of natural things, when you hear about the natural God and how the natural God moves, you would have to go and balance it off, because you've been accustomed to this supernatural God, as they call it. I'm not a supernatural person. It's natural. Even if you sit down and levitate, to me, it's not supernatural. It's just natural. Even if you walk through the wall, once you do it, to me, it's supernatural. It's natural because it can be explained. Remember, the atom has more space than it has mass inside of it, So that alone carries the conversation to another level. And everything is made up of matter or atoms, pardon me. All matter is made up of atoms. And the atom is full with space. So, it's at different levels. But the point I'm making, so even if you do things that appear impossible, it's not necessarily supernatural. It's just natural. We have been so subnatural that the natural looks to us like supernatural. That's all it is. Wow. Some little thing we see, even if it's a man walking on water. Wow. They have lizards and birds that walk on water. That fish that fly to it. They call them a flying fish. But the point I'm making, that just understanding the science of the mystic of the divinity of Haile Selassie I. And then, of course, the balance with his wife, Empress Menen, and the coronation and the rulership. And then when you see the part that the Empress would have played during that great Amenta that we have spoken about, and going into the underworld and the resurrection, and just the governing of Ethiopia in general. But where I want to go before we return to Empress Menen specifically is just the general conversation of God, the woman. Now, I'm going to look at this from different angles. And so please, Tiger, with I. Yeah. When it comes to, first of all, the concept of God, we have to admit, up to now, most of us still wrestling in some form or fashion with the colonial concept that we have been given of God. Now, God alone by itself, not your God and his God and your definition of God, the God. To me, this is why I always say you have to visit the God character first before you start to talk about God. Huh? You have to visit God first before you really start to get into God. Who is God? Well, he's the creator. No, not that one there. Not that one. The first God, the God before that God was called God. Where did the name God come from then? Let me put it that way. Where did the name God come from? Go and do the research. Check it out. As far as we understand it. Because you see, God is a character. It's a character, whether mythological or not, that has the name God. And to me, that's a very serious thing. It's not just a case of, oh, it's just a name. No, because what you come to realize now is that the God now, the mythological character, God, the attributes given to this mythological character, even down to how he look, is the same like the God that we're supposed to worship and praise. Now you're gonna say, hey, God is a spirit. Nobody has ever seen God and all of that. Yeah, you'll say that all day long. But then you open the Bible with the picture, you see God up there in the cloud and his hand stretched down. You look at the Sistine Chapel that Michelangelo painted, you see God stretching across his hand and touching Adam. You know that picture there, finger to finger. Yeah, so you've seen pictures of God. The Jehovah Witnesses, when you look in their Watchtower magazine, you see God and then Jesus. There are many pictures of God. So even though I want you to follow me good, even though you may say that, hey, this God being is an invisible being, and nobody can see this God, and he don't have no gender neither. So don't tell me no woman business. I know. When they say he's a man, you didn't have no problem. I noticed that too. When God is a man, people don't usually have a problem. You just say God, woman. No, God don't have no gender, brother. When they paint him white, ain't no problem. It's all right. Don't worry. But when they paint him black, no. Why did you do that? God, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Now, they never said that before. But the fact that you bring him now in a different form, looking like them, self-hatred starts to bubble up like a geyser inside of them. Oh, no, it doesn't matter to me. It's all right. It doesn't matter whatever color he is. They're trying to tell you, take down the black picture. So who is God? God is the character known as Godon. In fact, the on was just taken off and left with God. He is affectionately called God or good. That's why God is good. He's also called Godon, or he's also called Wodon or Wodan, because he's worshipped in Italy, in Poland, in Austria, in Germany, in Prussia. He and Santa Claus run in race. In fact, they're kind of one and the same. In fact, we've covered this. How many of you were with us for the Santa Claus massacre that we did over the Yuletide season? You see, this is why, this is why, if you're really serious about this, I'm not saying you have to be. I want to get this clear. You got to be serious about like what we're doing here. You know what I mean. If you take it as entertainment, nothing wrong. It's up to you. It's not like a weight on my shoulder. But I'm speaking to those who actually want to take it serious. Because sometimes you have to strengthen your students. You understand? So if you have 500 people listening to you, you may be surprised 100 of them really serious and hey, I want to expand in this, So I'm telling you, we did a lecture in December, and the lecture, it's an online lecture. It was, some of you was there, were there, and we went into the connection with Woden, also known as Goden, more commonly called Odin, but is the same being, the same God, and his connection with the whole Santa fraud and everything. So when you understand that link now, this is deeper, and no one can get that. That lecture was entitled The Santa Claus Massacre. It is still available. The Santa Claus Massacre. All you have to do is visit our website. This is why the website is there as well, priestisaacinstitute.com. In fact, the link is in the description below as always. Go to the area mark shop and search it out and look for the Santa Claus Massacre. A very inexpensive online lecture giving you a good understanding. And those videos were made for the young ones too, for the young children to get a better understanding of the demon coming down the chimney. But anyway, so Odin family, this is serious. Odin, or God. So this is where the term God really comes from. And why I have to bring this up, because sometimes in teaching you have to remove things to put things inside, or take things out to put things in. You refurbishing a house or whatever, redecorating, sometimes you gotta throw things out. You don't just bring the new things in. You're changing your diet or your liberty. Sometimes you gotta take a laxative and clean things out before you put in the fresh stuff. Put it in the fresh stuff, into a system where the intestines walls are caked up with all sort of old gunk. You gotta clean that out first and then put in the good stuff. So then now with the clean intestinal walls, then now you can extract the nutrients properly through the walls of the intestines into the bloodstream, etc. So it is good to take out the old junk first. And this is what we're doing here. We're taking out the old junk because God, even if you're a Rasan, Hebrew, and Muslim, and so, a lot of us still staying with the God thing, very much staying too. Because I'm just trying to show you, family, when you look at a picture of God, anyway they draw God, and you look at a picture of Odin or Woden, I mean, it's the same fella. There's nothing different. It's just like when you look at a picture of Serapis and you look at a picture of Jesus Christ, they don't look no different because it's really the same thing. It's an extraction of the same thing. Now, you're going to easily say, man, God is just a word. No, it's not just no word. Of course, as a balanced individual, of course you can override that. You can have a conversation and say, yeah, man, God is good, with great understanding. But most of us have that conversation and we don't have the understanding really what's going on. So you must explain things. People need to have a good comprehension, a proper comprehension of this English. And this is quote unquote God you're talking about. So even if you, listen to me good, even if you would say that, hey, God is a spirit, nobody ever seen him, and he don't have no color, I am telling you, somewhere psychologically inside of the mind, God is the same Odin that has been given to us somehow. Because usually you're going to say, well, listen, I just pray to the Father above, and you will point up to. You literally point up when he's invisible. You can't see him, he's everywhere, but yet still when you identify him, you literally point up. Maybe not you, but people do that. Yeah, my God is that, and they point up. So who teach you to be pointing up? Now you're saying you can't see him, but who is the God up there? It's the same Odin. So whether you can see him or not, you've been staying with his concept. You've been staying with his theology. Odin. So this is why when you say, Osiris is the Egyptian god. Now you see all of that, technically that is totally wrong. In fact, a lot of words were used there that is off. Osiris is an off word. Egyptian is an off word. And God is an off word. But again, we're not going to stop the conversation because of words, but because we hear that reasoning now. We're dealing with this on an intellectual level. We have to examine these things. Because Osiris in Egypt or Asa in Kemet was never referred to as a god. Osiris in Egypt, which is really preferred Asa from Kemet, was never called a god from Egypt. It's a Kemetic neter. So what's neter? Oh, neter is the Egyptian word for God. No, nothing gossa. You know why nothing gossa? Because you see, when you say that now, the concept of God, you put on the neter totally. This is why now people reversing, trying to show you, no, Osiris is not no god that dead and come back alive. Osiris is a principle. Why you have to be having that battle? Just because of the word. Just to say Osiris is the Egyptian god. You take language simply, like you're just talking, But remember, you grew up with God, God ain't no lightweight word, You have grown up with God. And that word God covers so many things. God. So just to say Osiris is God, somebody, oh, you're blaspheming. When you're not really on what they're on, But just because you say that, I can never forget a time I call a Bridget, yes, my Lord. I want to say, oh, what you call him? Oh, no, you can't say that he's not the Lord. And, So, and she flipped on me right in the middle of St. John City, calling a brethren my Lord. Oh, he's not the Lord. I don't know what's wrong with you people today. You see? Because her idea of Lord is the same Odin, is the same God. So word sound is power. Now, I'm not going to even stay too long there. The reason why I went there is to show you again that the Odin concept or the God concept, follow me good, naturally comes as a masculine being. Hear me good, So the Odin concept or the God concept is all the same. Remember the term God, was only used for the first time, I think, in the 1500s in the German Bible. That's where God came to life. Before that, the most high, the all in all. I like to use that term. The all in all wasn't called God. I mean, child. Don't go betting on that now and go lose your money now. I'm telling you that before the German Bible, no one was referring to the Almighty as God, this great supreme being that is all over in the heavens, under the earth, planet, star, because that's the real supreme being. Oh, my family. The being that you're calling God is the living force, Rastafari. Life itself. That is why life, love can go together. Life. This is why we can say that, quote unquote, God dwells in us. Because where there is life is the existence of God. So the fullness of the creator or the all in all is within life itself. This is why I always say it's not my life and your life and mine, you lose your life and make sure you take care of your life. No, it's not so many lives, Life is like God. There's only one life, Just like there's only one God, there's only one life. We're all, me and you and everything that's alive, is experiencing the existence called life. So that is why we would use the term that we are in the land of the living. So the all in all, which people call God, the supreme. I wouldn't even say being, because you kind of bring that down now. But the supreme all in all is everywhere that your mind can go and your mind cannot go. Family, you have parallel worlds differently than this world. You have different dimensions differently than this dimension. So the spirit of, I will use that term here, the spirit, the essence, and the existence of who we refer to as the Lord is everywhere that existence exists. That's without a doubt. You can't put that in a bottle and cork it up. You better be sure of that. So it is in a leaf, but the leaf ain't God by itself. But God is in the leaf. It's in the seas, in the moon, it's in the planet, it is in you. It's life. So how you become like man with this long beard sitting on this throne up in the clouds? That's a fall. That's a long fall from what God really is. Now, one of the main things, the fact that the all in all is in everything. You know what we're talking about here? We're talking about science. Science. This is why everything has a positive and a negative charge to it. This is why everything has a masculine and a feminine aspect to it. It is only natural. There's nothing going on without masculine and feminine. It only makes sense. That is creation itself, my family. You know, not just the sun is masculine and moon and earth is feminine and all of that. I'm talking about what we call positive and negative polarity. It's in everything that has life. That is why the atom has the positive and the negative. The electrons is the negative and the protons are the positive. That is in the atom. And remember, the atom is the smallest level of the building block of life. And within it, it begins with positive and negative. And to show you how English is so cruel, negative, as they call it, has become a negative word. Because the female represents the negative, and the male represents the positive. I'm talking about polarity, not one is right and one is wrong. No. But negative has become wrong in your, in the language that we speak. It's some serious left brain, right brain science. But they have linguists, people that study these things. They know how to sit down and frame the language to connect with your tongue to twist up your brain. But in reality, again, where there is life, there is positive and negative. I use the example all the time. If you are an electrician and you are wiring a house, to bring electricity into the apartment, the house, the building, whatever, you have to use positive and negative. If you use all negative, it's not going to work. So you wire the house all negative and you put on the switch. Not. But if you use all positive, which is the male now, and you put on the switch, you better call the fire truck because you're going to burn the house down. And I find that very interesting. You see, you need both male and female for it to work. You need the man and the woman for it to work. Interestingly, when all women come together, which is negative as far as the house wiring, it doesn't work. When all male come together, which is the positive, it doesn't work. But What makes it worse, they burn down the house. You see? So really, it's not no matriarch kingdom and no patriarch kingdom. I hear people say, oh, Africa was matriarchal. Well, maybe at one time, just like it's patriarchal at another time. And how long have we been here in the land of the living? These things come in cycle. But I know originally Africa is patriarchal and matriarchal. I don't know what this is. Who come first, male or female? What are you talking about? And this thing about, well, none of us could come here without a woman. None of us can come here without a man neither. Don't come with none of them funny talk to me, I'm not into that. It's a natural balance of male and female. That kind of sound like you're gone into feminism here. When you're going to be kind of stressing, oh, well, we all came from a woman. Of course we all came from a woman. We all came from a man too. Which gospel you reading? Don't make them fool you with them talking. We all came from a man and a woman. You have the virgin birth, and you have one instance when a man take a rib and make a whole woman. I mean, so we come from each other. Eve was taken from the rib of Adam. I'm sure you agree with that. We all come from each other, and we all come out of our mother's womb. So what is happening now in Kemet and not just Kemet, Africa in general? Because in Africa, the God figure, which Africa never really have no God, but and the reason why I'm stressing it, because I don't want to lose my heart. Yes, for the language sake, I understand God, we know what we're talking about. But you still have to find some discipline within your own self to draw it up every now and again. Don't get lost in it because it's a serious concept. It carries you back to Oden. Just the terminology of it carries you back to Oden. That's why some man born God it. Understand? Oh no, you can't do that. But man say born God, I not gonna feel that way. If you feel away, right, that shows you're so attached to the colonialistic understanding that you get dig God, you feel it too. Oh no, nobody can dig God. This ain't God. Which God? The all in all you're talking about. Listen, if the truth be said, you're disrespecting the Most High. All right, to be calling the Most High Oden. So I'm showing you now that when we look now at the science of the theory of God, it's a man. I can't recall anywhere in my so-called upbringing where there was any space left. It wasn't even something to think about of God even being nearly a woman. We weren't even sure if God had a wife. Mrs. God. Yeah, no Mrs. God there, Mrs. They have Mrs. Claus. Nobody ever thought about, even Satan have a wife. Never hear about the wife of God. And then, of course, Jesus now, the little God, he ain't got a woman neither. All of that is a part of the plot. Remember Gemini, what they call Castor and Pollux is who and Sa. Constellation, a male and a female. And these creatures take out one of the characters, the female, and put in a man or male. Or they just switch the whole story around. That's really it. So from an African man and an African woman to two little Greek boys, naked as they born, hugging up each other with whips and chains in the hand. What are they up to there? No clothes on, eh? Were you born in June? If you born around them times there, you know about Gemini. Go and look in the horrible scope and look at the picture, the astro misguide. You see, that's why it's a horrible scope. So all in the heavens, they're taking out the woman, placing a male being. So instead of the man with his woman, you have two little boys there. zodiac constellation. That's astrology for you. That is not the ancient astronomy at all. You see. So you can just see it from even that angle. The plot to literally take the understanding of the divine out of the concept of the heavenly throne, when it's again it's just only natural. This is what Haile Selassie bring to remembrance to us, as simple as it looking. King, it take Rasta a while to pick up on that too. I hear a lot of people praise Muta Baruka. Give thanks to Muta Baruka with all respect. In the conference they had in 2003, a lot of people, even Rastas here, who went to that conference, say it's Muta Baruka have Rasta hailing Empress Menen. I humbly disagree. Because I would agree that when I started to go around Rastafari, nobody was hailing no Empress Menen. It is a new thing. Straight up, it is a new thing. It's only Bobo Shanti alone does hail Empress Menen. I ain't asking you. I'm not asking you. I don't say put her picture up, you know. I don't say put her picture up and acknowledge her. I mean hail her. I mean, how long we say in the International Creed? King Alpha and Queen Omega. Those of you who know the creed. Father and Mother of creation. When every hymn we sing and we go into Zion, we sing the same thing. Father and Mother, King Alpha and Queen Omega. How long we singing that? Since when? 50s, 60s, before that? So we hailing the mother from long time as Bobo Shanti. I ain't trying to segregate not this nobody. I just showing you. So when and it's not to, you know what I mean, to touch the elder at all. I don't know I respect the elder, but to say it's Muta Baruka, with all due respect, that make man start to hail Empress Menen. Well, maybe some man, maybe, but not I and I as Bobo Shanti. That concept of the woman and her position has always been clear, at least from my understanding, coming into this salvation order here. So again, as Ras in general, you know, hailing the emperor, rightly so. But then right in front of our faces, the emperor is right there with his empress. And yeah, I will agree. In general, Rastaman was looking around that for a while. Because it's today now, man, pulling up that. And it's interesting, you know, because remember, it's Bobo Shanti that's always get fired. Tree man. Man healing tree man. Oh my, take your time and check the science, man. Someone would even come as far as to say, hey, how God could be three? God can only be one. These same one now that's saying God can only be one. You know? Them is the same one telling you have to heal Empress Menen. Yeah, I mean, she and the king is one, of course, but they're two different people. They're two different people. Empress Menen birthday we celebrating, not Haile Selassie. They're two different people. Which bring me now to the point that this thing about God is one, you know, so-called God, God is one. But to say, well, God is one, meaning that is just this one figure here and no other figure, that is the God from the Odin concept there, play with the mind. Because now, let's return to what we're talking about with Asar. Remember, Asar is not alone. Where you have Asar, you have Aset. So the ancient African concept of the Almighty, all of them figures there that we say is God. So people say now, Horus is where they get the Christ figure from. Ra and Amun-Ra is where they get the God figure from. But the difference is that all these Kemetic figures, all of them have their wives. And they have children. This is the serious difference here. Now, all we have to do, you know, family, is to just look at the timeline here. When we were saying Asa and Aset, nobody was saying God. There was no God. Not even Odin was invented yet as a Norse theology. There was no God. Don't get me wrong, Of course, the all in all, the creator, the sustainer of heaven and earth was there. Obviously, I mean, come on, that is only making sense. But to say that all there in the heavens or God is over here and I'm praying to God, no, nobody would say that. No one would say that. You see, family, we've gotten so soft. We don't know how much of an insult it is to call the power and might of the Holy Trinity some of these disgusting names that we borrow from our enemies' gods. That's why ones will refer to the emperor as Exeter or Madani Alam. Because remember, you're speaking of the divine, Haile Selassie. Because to me, Haile Selassie says it all. But me want to say, they ain't going to catch what you're saying, and if you're, but Haile is the Holy Trinity. You see it. So now, the woman again, in the ancient African tradition, there's always a male and a female. So this thing about the expression, and remember, they are the expression. They are the expression of the divine, different aspects of the divine. This is why we can look at a human being and say, yeah, man, that's the divine, or that's the Most High, or that's the God, to use the term. Why? Because the energy of the divine is full and ripe inside of them. Don't get me wrong. The divine dwells in us all. The divine dwells in us all, Rastafari. Reality. I mean, people, the divine, because we share in life. But they have many different levels to this. And the intelligent nucleus that we call the Most High God, the intelligent nucleus. Remember, the intelligent nucleus has everything in motion. That's why water can evaporate and condensate and precipitate and just go round and round. That's why you can cut the tree down and it grows back from the stump and blooms into a next tree again, because there's an intelligence that governs all things. And there's a nucleus of intelligence, a center of intelligence that has everything, all them different dimensions I was speaking of, and parallel worlds and how your toenail grow. There is a center of intelligence that governs every leg and every species of ant. You better believe it. The center of intelligence that we want to just, bring down to some low level of religion. The center of intelligence dwells in all of us. But yet still, that's why they have prophecies, because this same center of intelligence manifests itself in different forms, specifically in human beings, in different levels. That is why you could look at a man and say, boy, this man must be Christ. It's the same center of intelligence we call God that has possessed this flesh and has turned up the volume. Same thing when you look at a person and say, man, this is God. This is the Christ. This is the Savior. This is the Messiah. But the Messiah energy is in all of us. Nobody can be upset with that. That's what the Messiah teaches. Which Christ no teach that? All the Christ and them that people talk about, from the Buddha to the Christ in the Bible to King Emmanuel, all of them tell you that greater works than this shall ye do, and that God dwells in you. Hear one of them say, be ye perfect. This is in the Bible, Be ye perfect, as your Father who art in Zion is perfect. That's a serious, serious statement. In the Old Testament, Moses tell them, be ye holy. Oh, what is this? As your Father who art in heaven is holy. Okay, holy, heavy, but the perfect one, tough. Be ye, so I can be perfect. And this is Christ telling his people, so no, hey, yo, be perfect like the man. Because, and that is why the Christ figure, is the figure of example. Christ is just somebody to worship, is the figure of example. It is the Most High God in the human form come to show you that he can come through, walk through hell barefooted, and come out the other side victorious. Meaning that you can do it too. So he come and he bear the same things you bear. He bear hunger. He bear temptation in all forms. Whether it's greed, whether it's lust, whether it's sleep, because he have to rest and wake up too. You know what I mean? When he have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. But he fast and pray 40 days and 40 nights. Stay away from temptation. Do the work of his Father. Live up. Don't steal. Don't lie. No corrupt mind. Not trying to disrespect no one or embarrass no one. Just trying to live in love and care and share happiness and harmony. And he shows us that if he can do all of that and conquer the world, you can do it too. But let me ask now. The Bible said that God is the head of man. No, hold on. God is the head of Christ. Christ is the head of man. And man the head of the woman. And woman the head of the children. Let's start from the top again. God is the head of Christ. Is this God a man alone? Or the God is male and female? Because obviously God sounds singular, but it is not. God is not singular. We all know that you have El and Elohim. Everyone listening here should have an idea of that. Many times in the Bible, you see God. He ain't talking about no one figure. So I don't know how ones can argue that there's only one God. I agree there's one God, the concept. But there's nothing known as no one God thing like how religion teaches us. The God, the all in all intelligent nucleus, is life that dwells in all living things. That's what the God come and teach us every time he come. Read all them holy books. He tell us the same thing. Why worship me? And why kneel down? Please don't kneel down. I'm one of your brethren. The Most High dwells in you. All of them, Confucius, Krishna, all of these great sages and teachers, the Christ, the Moses, they all tell you about the divine inside of you. But the thing is, we have to activate the divine inside of us. That is why the Almighty God, as we call him, come amongst us and sit amongst us to activate the God inside of us. So the head of God is the head and the head of Christ. So about Christ now, is Christ always a man? Can Christ be a woman? I just ask it. And the head of Christ, or Christ is the head of man, and man the head of woman. Okay. What about the Christ? Let's go back to the God part now. God being the head of Christ cannot be just a man. I just explained that just creation alone and existence is male and female. There's nothing you can do about it. So when it manifests in human form, that is why in ancient Africa, we always portray the living being as male and female. What we call God as male and female, it is a must. So even if you argue that, hey, these are not real people, they're not real characters, Ma'at is not a real woman with wings, they represent principles, okay, I can run with all of that. But they still make sure they represent them as male and female. When you see the representation of the heavens with God and Jesus and the angels, it's all fellas. And what funny, the angels and them look like women, but it's fellas they are. A heap of them, eh? Sometimes when you open them magazines, all you see is a sea of cloud of angels standing before the throne of God with his tall gold wings and some angels flying around him. All fellas in there. All fellas. Not a woman in the house. Maybe Mary in there. Must be Smurfs and Smurfette. This ain't no joking. I'm not mocking it, I'm just telling you how real the thing is. That makes sense. Can we see that religion? This is where you sprung all of them homosexuality in the earth today. From the religion alone, showing you that same religion there is responsible for the rape of so many little boys and girls across the world. Look, Pope Francis just last week apologized for the schools that they had in Canada or had, that they took the indigenous Indian people, forced them to go there, the colonializing, slave mind bending schools. And they endured so much suffering and heartache and rape and all sorts of things in the school. And here comes Pope Francis really apologizing for what they would have done to them. These fellas know what to apologize for, trust me. Remember that, what's his name? The Mr. William came to the Caribbean the other day, and according to the news, he fell short of an all-out apology for slavery. So family, the thing is now, we shouldn't be wrestling in our minds. That's what happens, just to ask if God is a man or a woman. And so you're wrestling in your mind with colonialism. That is why I began talking about God, God first, You're wrestling with colonialism. It has never been I mean, if God, maybe God is a male, but the Almighty Most High is both male and female. We've never had that problem. That has never been a question, family. That has never been no argument. I mean, just to even out of the creation. Yeah. So again, this is why the emperor, in all such glory, would have at the time, and remember Empress Menen now, Empress Menen, we did a programming where we were highlighting one of the monasteries that would have built. Because if it's one thing about Empress Menen that stands out, is her commitment to establishing holy places all across, especially across the world, really. She was the one that completed I think it's the church that Empress Taitu or Empress Zaditu, it was one of the two, was building, and she completed it. She would have funded many monasteries in Jerusalem. And remember, we did the program where she herself officiated. She herself, Empress Menen, I mean, up to now, when I meditate on that, I have to say, this is something else. She, Empress Menen, she officiated over the ceremony to open the monastery at Jerusalem. Now, again, remember a monastery. A monastery is the house of a monk or the monks, the place of the monks, the academy, or, the residence of the monks. Just like you have a convent for the nuns, you have the monastery for the monks, and monks are men or male figures. So, the monks have their own religious rites. They're not just monks sitting down and rocking. The monks have their services, etc. These are Christian monks. Good. Priests. Good. And when they open this new monastery, the person that carried out the ceremony, like, okay, who would carry out a ceremony to open a church? A bishop. Who would carry out a ceremony to open a church? A high priest. Empress Menen was the one, a woman, that carried out, she herself she oversaw the opening, she commissioned the opening of the monastery there in Jerusalem. That is, to me, that is very, very serious. Because the monks not gonna make no woman. Listen, Ethiopian monks, right? When they set up their monastery, women and so can't even come there. Not only that, they would of course, these brethren and so they eat the animal, goat and lamb and so. Rooster and so. It's rooster alone they eat. You can't bring no chicken, no hen up these places, climbing up Deborah Damos and these places here where the monks dwell. You think you bring in a female lamb for them to raise so they can kill that to eat? No, even donkeys, everything has to be male up in these monasteries. I don't know how it works with mosquitoes and so on, but at least what they can control, it must be male. So just the thought of a woman even being around them is one thing. Much more to say that she is the one that is carried out the ceremony is we read that, and that alone shows you the level of divinity, maybe something that we haven't caught up with yet as far as knowledge wise, as it relates to Empress Menen. Remember when her mother passed? No. I think it's when her brother passed. Empress Menen's brother passed. You know the story. A lot of what we're talking about here, most of what we're talking about here is things we would have covered too, because I know I did a program about this story here, maybe about a year or two ago. But what I come to realize, a lot of people that just coming into this, sometimes they don't always go back, and sometimes you have hundreds, maybe thousands of videos there here, and every day you're bringing out a new one. I understand. So it's good to repeat a few things sometimes, because in the king's autobiography, of which we don't have it open here, but we read it at the time. I think the video we did was entitled Empress Menen Shows Her Loyalty to the King, something of the sort. But the chalice, I'll take a chalice dry. Empress Menen, her brother passed, and so she and her caravan, yes, I know a lot of you know the story. She and her caravan was moving. They were going to, I think it's Addis Ababa. So at that time, the king would have been, I think he was governor. I don't think he was emperor at the time. He may have been Ras, something of the sort. I have it a little fuzzy there, but I know the story, and I know you know the story. But the point is that the caravan was moving, and the emperor was to accompany the empress. Of course, remember the emperor have his own entourage. It's not like just him and her. Man. There's a whole heap of people moving. Good, and the emperor would have followed her to a specific point. Like I think they would have crossed a major lake, and then from there on, Empress Menen would have gone on, and the emperor and his entourage, I think they would have camped for the night. and she would have moved on with her caravan, I'm sure with hundreds of people. Yeah. And so she was going to, no, I think he was already Emperor Man. She was going to the city where her brother was to be buried. So the next light, the Emperor and his crew, they went across the lake again. Now, the boat that the Emperor was in, it got a leak and it started to sink. And I think a few people died, but the Emperor survived. And in his autobiography, the Emperor clearly says that he thought that, life would have been taken away from him on that day. That's an interesting statement to make. But it said that on hearing the news, now remember, he lived and, he was back on his feet. And I think the news came to Empress Menen like a couple of days after, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was like right away. Because remember, that's the caravan moving. She's going to her brother's funeral. And they say as soon as she heard the news, although the king lived and he was okay, she ordered her caravan to turn around and return to the emperor. Now, you just have to think, of the amount of, money, and a lot had to have been put into just that exodus, or that movement, I should say, from one city, may have been Addis Ababa, to the province where her brother would have been buried, of course, and moving with all these people and all of that, of course. And you're going to your brother's funeral too. And you heard your husband, well, almost lost his life, but he's okay. That don't make a difference. Let's turn around. And that brings to mind even the scripture when one of the disciples were telling the Christ, okay, I gonna follow you, man. Just give me a few days. I gonna bury my father and come back. And he said, hey, listen, I ain't telling you not to go in, but let the dead bury their dead. Empress Menen dropped that and came forward. You know what I mean? To check for the King of Kings. So as a high level of loyalty there, you know what I mean? Because you have to understand what she put down, and just to remember he was all right, but that wasn't enough. She had to return to be with the God. And the many cases of that are not really spoken of, even the emperor at her graveside spoke of, her perfection, really, and there was no impurity in her. And he married her on the count that she was fertile. I'm sure some of you would know these excerpts from the speech. So definitely there must be a natural balance as it relates to the male, as it relates to the male concept, of the life giver amongst us. Now, I would ask, as it relates to Empress Menen, so we're speaking of God and goddess in flesh. So if yes, we are God and goddesses in general. Psalms 82 says, ye are all gods, but we know that there is the prophetic God that will come. And again, it is only natural, not supernatural. It is only natural that the God that come is filled with that spirit of the all in all. So if we're recognizing this as Haile Selassie Empress Menen, so what about their offsprings? No, if we oh, you get me? If Empress Menen is Empress Menen now, the perfect, the wife of God, not just the wife of God now, but God in the feminine form, right? And we're just utilizing the word God for conversation's sake. Good. I never said we weren't going to, but at least we have an idea what we're talking about. Good. Good, eh? So if she is God in the feminine form and he is God in the masculine form, so what about that which they produce? Because remember, it's not just a case of Haile Selassie is the Almighty God. and he has a very good wife. Because it could be that too, because some of us as Ras see it like that. Oh yeah, some literally see it like that. It is no disrespect to the mother. I'm speaking specifically of Empress Menen, but they have many Rases. They would tell me that, say, no, Ras, it's the king alone we're supposed to hail. Man, that's the emperor wife. She's a beloved woman. She blessed. She holy and XYZ. But there's enough holy people around us. Enough holy people. But there's only one man we're supposed to praise. I think the man and them making a mistake. Yeah, man, I get that every now and again. These people, they may not come out, But what I'm saying now, if they're both on that level, what about what they produce? Like, for example, Mr. Asfa Wasa. That is the son of the Maui Haile Selassie, the firstborn son. He proclaimed himself emperor afterwards. Emperor, I can't remember the name now. Ama Selassie? Ama. Yeah, Ama Selassie, something of the sort, the first, really. And if I'm not mistaken, I've read in a book called The Mission that the emperor did make mention of an heir apparent. He actually skipped over Asfawasan's head and went straight to his son. I remember seeing that in the book, The Mission. But what I'm saying though, the offspring, royal and everything, royalty and holy vibes. But when you're talking about the Almighty now in flesh, that's a very serious subject. Not just God and Goddess, but the Almighty in flesh. And if we're talking about the Almighty He and the Almighty She, those that they produce, like literally from their loins together, what's their status? It's just a question, eh? I know some people get offended by questions. It's just a question for us to understand, especially since we are deeper thinkers. Remember, the story of Oshun, eh? Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, blessed family. Give thanks, man. Thanks. Story of Oshun. Remember, what the head god name Obatala? Is he?
Olodumare.
Oh, Olodumare. All right, who's Obatala? Second in command?
He's the god of the white clouds.
The white who?
White clouds.
The white clouds. See, we making some white clouds here. What's his name again?
The rainbow god.
Obatala is the god of the white clouds.
Yes.
Oh, well,
and the rainbow god, the head of all Orishas, is the Olodumare.
Go ahead, talk, girl.
Yes, that's. And he's actually the father of all the Orishas.
You hear that? All right. Tell me the story of Oshun there.
Well, the story goes on.
I'm talking to the man.
Yes, Olodumare sent his 16 Orishas.
Y'all listening? I'm close to the mic. I can't hear.
Yes, he sent his 16 Orishas.
16 crucified saviors. Go ahead.
Yes, and the male Orishas did their thing, and Oshun did her thing as well. And they said that, you know what? We can do this on our own. We don't need her. And she was like, all right. So she went up to the moon and looked at a reflection of herself. That's why you see some dancers with some mirrors in their hands. And actually, the water started to dry up. The spring was not springing anymore, and the river started to dry up. So they went up to Olodumare to see what the problem is. And the main problem was Oshun was not around. So they were told to go and apologize to the goddess. And they did, and swore never to do it again.
Oh, man. Give thanks, Honorable. So you see, you see with and just remind, these are the prizes. Just jumped into my head what happened. These are the prizes for, see, when you take a draw of the chalice, sometimes the whole atmosphere changes. Yeah, man, these are the wonderful prizes for those who are just coming in. We are so happy for the winners of the essay competition this year. And of course, we have the mighty laptop. I don't think you saw this laptop here yet, Princess. Brand new laptop, specifically all, you know, all all prizes specifically from, of course, our sponsors and of course ourselves. But we have to make sure that the young ones, and as I said, family, when we make the official announcement, I'll give you a little more detail on the other prizes that the young ones will be winning. We showed you earlier, the different African bags um, and the books and so many different things. As I said, we'll be having the prize giving ceremony um, to Thursday evening. Hey, let me see that book there for Brother Corey Harris. Brother Corey Harris, give thanks, eh? Yes, I. This is one of the books of our good brother, Honorable Prophet Corey Harris. He sent us two wonderful books. This is Jati Gui, I hope I pronounce it right. The Life and Music of Ali Fakatore. And this is Brother Corey Harris' work. Of course, we did a wonderful interview with the good brother, Black Dominion himself. And we definitely are very thankful. What's the name of the other book? I can't recall the name. The Honorable Empress Naya has that one in reading, and specifically, I will show that to you in the future. But here we have the works of the great brother himself, talking about Brother Corey Harris. And of course, you know, this is how we supposed to support the brethren, with them kind of works. Book you can get in your hand. Look the brother behind here with the individual that he's speaking of. Brother Corey Harris. Wonderful, my Lord. Give thanks very much. Um, Recently received it in the mail, and all honor and majesty. And of course, looking forward for us to sit and reason once more. So what the princess was saying now, she was giving the story of Oshun. And Oshun, from the Orisha tradition, isn't it? Yoruba and all of that stuff. Hey, listen, I don't know what's going on here, but you have to make sure you tune in to Youth University every Monday at 4 p.m. sharp. Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. Again, every Monday at 4 p.m. Bring the young ones and come. Don't come late because it's a half an hour program. The Honorable Princess Acacia Menen and then the Honorable Prince Alamase. And they sit down and all kind of science these people trying you. And they don't even start yet. They're soon going into maths and all sort of things. But for now, they're just giving you some ancient history and some deep science and a heap of Swahili words. Bring the young ones, bring yourself and come. Bring the young ones and come, man. Make them feel the consciousness. Let's feel the way how we just keep our young ones from consciousness. I don't know what's wrong with us, as if we testing the waters before we make them come and swim. Bring them and come, man. You know what I mean? Give thanks, as you could see the young princess here expressing the whole story there of their show. You don't notice, man, I hear talking enough things I can't remember. I just, hey, and she bring the answer to me, or he bring the answer to me. You understand? And a lot of what they express is self-taught. Not like if it's I teach them everything, they teach themselves. They go and look it up and study it for themselves. So as they say, we ain't backing up no fish eating. But just to use it as the metaphor that you're accustomed to do. As they say, instead of giving a man a fish, look, we don't have to use that. Instead of giving him a bread, teach him how to bake the bread. You understand? Leave the fish in the ocean. fish not do you nothing. You don't have to eat no fish. So the Honorable Princess explaining to us Oshun now. So Oshun is one of the female goddess in the Yoruba tradition of West Africa. You find this in Nigeria and them places. Where else you find it? In Nigeria alone?
Nigeria, Benin,
Nigeria and Benin and
Cuba.
and who?
Cuba.
Cuba and Cuba. You hear that now, you see? That's what they call
The Santeria.
Santeria. Okay, wow. Yeah. So now Oshu now, but she already told you the story, man. I'm humbled to be very honest here. You know, I mean, I get to hush my mouth. But the vibes is that so Oshun represents sweet water. Although, and sweet water is water you can drink, eh? Not water and sugar. But you know, like rivers and water that you can drink. The springs, I guess some lakes, good clean water, rain water. I think she represents all of that, maybe, yeah. Right, water you can drink. But I always say, because that's how we unravel the mysteries, you know, that the term ocean or ocean is, you know, derived from Oshun. I always believe that. I still believe that too. Um, Whatever the case is, that's my perspective on that. But I remember the ocean is not sweet water, you know, you can't drink ocean water because ocean water is as well ocean water. So I'm saying now, with the Oshun vibration, she herself represents um, the water that you can drink. Pardon me one moment there. Okay, just forgive me for that. Yeah, she represents the water that you can drink. You understand? So she came down with the brothers, and she was asked to work along with them. So they had how many different ones? Yes, pardon me for that. So how many different brothers? Well, give me the name. Give me the names of some of the male gods that they would have.
Well, there's Shango, god
Shan-
of lightning.
Shango, god of lightning.
Ogun, the god of iron.
Ogun, the god of iron. Yes.
Elegba,
Elegba
and Osusi.
or Susi. What's the one with that make the clouds call again?
Obatala.
Obatala. I mean, I know Obatala, but Obatala. And who is the head one, the rainbow one?
Olodumare.
Olodumare. Obatala is the cloud maker. All right. Obatala. Got to keep that in mind. So all of these brothers came down with the sister, and they were supposed to create creation because this is like a creation story. And for whatever reason, the brethren them just were kind of pushing the sister aside, like, listen, man, you're all right, we don't need you. And she was like, come on, man, let me help you. Remember, I represent water, you know. Let me do this. No, yeah, no, we didn't need no help, man. We good. Come, fellas, bring the cards. Let's go. No, I can't. No, we good, man. We don't need no help. It's all right, good. Anybody have the dominoes? But my lord, no, we good, man. We safe. Leave us alone, the man. And she felt bad. And the story said, hear this, the story said that she went up to the moon. Yeah. And pulled out a vanity mirror and would just look at herself day and night. Her color is yellow. Actually, one of my, more um, preferred colors, yellow. But what I find outstanding here is that, okay, the brethren them didn't want to deal with her. And she moved on and she went to the moon, which is another feminine object as we know the moon. And she sat down with her little mirror and she started to look at herself. And then all the water dried up from the planet. And the fellas didn't understand what's going on. Remember the wiring of the house, you know? If it's all positive, we're gonna put together, thing gonna burn up. Poof, the house could burn down. You have to build a next house, and next time get the right electrician. So everybody like, hey, let's go and check Ola Dumare, because this not working. And they go without her, no man. Or was she with them? They go and be telling him, hey, things are working in the boss. I don't know what's going on here. All the water dry up. And so the king wanted to know, but wait. Where is my Oshu? Oh, she crazy, no joke. She pardon me. But that's the reality, eh? Yeah, I'm sure that's how they would drop it. Boy, boss, I don't know why you send she with us. No, she mad. Yeah. So what mean she mad? Call her for me. I know when she come along and she had to show the king. My lord, I'm telling them I'm going to open the upper springs. I will call the clouds to make the rain. He the Obatala, he feel he can make more clouds than me. But I'm the water. Oh, and I was going to bring the water out of the rocks, out of the mountains. Ogun feel because he's the god of iron. He can bring all the water out of the iron stones from the mountain. So they all turned me down, my lord. So I decided to go on the moon to sit with my femininity, control that. Because that is water too. That controls the water. Remember the moon, when it's full moon, the water tide would rise, crying out to the moon. You never hear Celine Dion sing the song. Do I have to get water from the moon? Of Masonic vibes there with her music, and trust me, take it from her. Well researched, believe me, take it from her. So that's a science within itself. A new moon, and so the tide go down, and specific new moon plus full moon draws the clouds thick with water, depending on where you are. Live in rainforests, them times you expect the rain to come down for sure. You live in the dry land, you may get a shower, new moon, full moon. Weatherman don't understand. They're looking at some sort of chart that they get from my yeah. So she took control of the moon. That controls water too. Deep vibes, deep vibes. Because water, water, the W, turn it around, you get matter. Matter, you remember, atoms build matter. All matter is made up of atoms. And matter, water is the symbol of matter, especially in the science of the spirit and the physical. Remember, the spirit and the physical in theological outlooks, in mythological outlooks, is Huansa, fire and water. Sure, you recall all of that. Huansa, fire and water, is physical and spiritual, male and female, positive, negative, all of that in one. You understand? So Huansa, again, represents positive, negative, male and female. I'm just taking my time because I don't want to lose no one. Fire and the water. Very symbolic. Good. So she herself, she went and sat on the moon. And what is interesting, she started to look at her beauty. She started to observe. Well, it's called a vanity, and that's very deep. The mirror is called a vanity, or your vanity chest, where you go and you pretty up yourself. That is why people will say, oh, you're very vain. Now remember, blood runs through your vein. And remember, when she was taken away from the earth, there was no more sweet water. You can't drink ocean water or ocean water because ocean is gone. But still, the water from the sea, remember that is symbolic of the blood in your veins. Because the earth is 70 to 80% water, just like the blood in you is 70 to 80% water too. And that water on the planet is really seawater. Is that only about 3% of the earth's water is sweet water, 97 point something percent is salt water. And remember, with the science we have gone through, when you look at the salinity of the salt water, seawater, the salinity is the same as the salinity of your blood. So there's a high connection there right away. As we showed you, all the saviors come out of the sea. This is ancient theology. All the saviors come out of the sea. That's why you see that strong connection with Christ and the sea. And the fisherman and disciples and Jonah going in the fish, coming out of the fish, coming out of the sea. That's very deep, That's very deep science there. Moses busting through the Red Sea, the blood. Remember, the blood is the same salinity as the sea. The Red Sea, the blood sea, Moses going through, busting through, because the blood within you represents the physical world, the physical world. Huansa, again. Huansa is the he and the she. Huansa, like father and mother. Huansa is fire and water. Huansa. S-A-Sa, H-U-Hu. You can relate them to Shu and Tefnut. See, who with the S is Shu. Shu and Tefnut is Hu and Sa, the same Gemini constellation. Fire and water. Sa represents water. S-A-Sa. And that water is sea water. Because in the science, the planet Earth is you. You are Earth. That's why you're made up of the same elements as Earth. Earth, wind, water, and fire. It's planet Earth. But planet Earth is made up of the element Earth and water, fire, and air. It could be called planet water. In fact, it's more referred to as the watery planet. But we just call it Earth. But there's more water on Earth than Earth. Now, Earth is not dirty. The stone and the trees and metal and material and minerals, all of that is a part of the concept of Earth. And some of them obviously also have water within them. So we, just like the Earth, have the same elements, sub-elements, gold, diamonds. See, people just take liquid silver, and so silver inside of you. They have food you can eat to activate the silver. You don't have to buy that thing in the box and drink it there. I think you got, hey, whatever you're into it. But I'm showing you for sure, if you understand the science, there are things that you could partake of to activate the gold inside of you, activate the silver inside of you, and activate whatever else you may be taking liquid form inside of you. Some teachers will teach us that the orange and the avocado and whatever you eat, they themselves specifically is not what carries the vitamins. They have the minerals, but you activate the vitamins because of the system and how it activates with the food. I myself, I am not that perfect at understanding. I'm just repeating what I've heard some experts would have said. So, showing you again that we're made up of the earth. Huansa. Fire, earth, air, water. Physical and spiritual. Male and female. So again, that's why I said that all the saviors come out of the seawater, because the seawater is representing of Mary too, the Maya, the Mariam. That's why it's called Marine. Marine is water. Mariam, which is Mary, Maya, Maya. Cinco de Mayo is the 5th of May. From the 5th of May to the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo, big holiday in the Latin American world. Ethiopian Liberation Day. Cinco de Mayo, as he went into the underworld, he sank into the Maya, into the marine. All the saviors come out of the water. Vishnu come out of the fish. Vishnu out of the fish, just like Jonah come out of the fish. Same thing. So Sano, the woman, the female aspect of this understanding, represents the seawater, and all the saviors come out of her. That is why if you look at the word sea and you take away the E, you get Sa, the name Sa. Okay. Seawater is salt water. Salt, S-A-L-T, salt, Sa. Okay, good, positive. And Sa, remember, as I said, the salinity of the seawater is the same as the salinity of your blood. Sa again, Sa. You have to remember, that you're made up of the same percentage of this structure as that of the earth, the planet Earth, as it makes up with the elements earth, wind, water, and fire. 70% of the water, 70% of the blood. Sa. Remember I said all the Sa, saviors come out of the seawater. Sa. And saviors come to Sa, save and bring Sa, salvation. Something Sa, sacred. Something you find in a Sa, sanctuary, sanctum, Sa, sacrifice, Sa, Sabbath and the Sa, Sabbath, Saturday, Sa, and sanctified, and so you see the term Sa. It's a deep vibration, something we've shared, of course, already, but I'm putting it now in connection with the sweet water. Because if you can recall, when we spoke of this subject earlier, not earlier tonight, I mean prior, we highlighted that story of Sodom and Gomorrah, but specifically Sodom. Some people think Sodom and Gomorrah is one place. Sodom and Gomorrah. Right. And remember when Lot was leaving Sodom with his wife, one of the main things that they were told is that, hey, well, for sure, you can't go back. And not just cannot go back, don't even look back. And while they were leaving and the bombs were dropping on Sodom, boom, boom, boom. And Gomorrah over there, boom, boom, boom. And all the cities around, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Read the book of Jude. Book of Jude says, I think it says it will be more tolerable. But it referenced the day when the bombs, when judgment came to Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities thereabout. Read it in Jude. So now just Sodom and Gomorrah get bombed and the surrounding cities get a fire too. So anyway, when they were leaving the city, according to, of course, the book of Genesis, she looked back. And when she looked back, she turned to a pillar of salt. So it's like a salt sculpture of Lot's wife. You know what I mean? And that is supposed to be there right now. That's how I know something. Right now. No. Wherever it is there, you're supposed to can go there and see that pillar of salt. Now tell me that's not religion there. But anyway, but still, of course, we understand the value of what it is. So what does that mean? Because that is something to King Emmanuel teaches the Bible is symbolic, eh? So let's get this thing good. There's a lot of symbolism here. So when she looked back at the Sodom world, now Sodom, remember salt is sodium chloride. Sodium, 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 sodium. Now, if you look good, sodium, of course, the if you take out the vowels, the consonants would be SDM, like Sodom. If you take out the vowels, the consonant will be SDM. It's the same word. So Sodom, in its understanding of mythology, is seen as the salty world. And if you read in the Bible, there's a sea called Sidim, the salt sea, Sidim, Sidim. You take out the vowels again, you get the consonants SDM. So when she looked back at Sodom, she turned to a pillar of sodium. She turned to a pillar of salt. What does that mean? Again, we as human beings, I'm gonna take my time to explain this almost in summary. Not summary of the whole of tonight, a summary of this point. Am I going too long? Am I keeping anybody back from anything? Some people say, "Oh, video is too long." I just decided when last we put a video up, I think it was Sunday. So we decided to sit with the family tonight. I hope I'm not taking up no one's time. Okay, good. Let me just take my time to explain this. I mean, I have the time. Eh? It's fast. We fasted and prayed. Give thanks for, the Lenten moment and the resurrection at hand. Yeah, the next several days up from the grave he rose. The mighty triumph over his foes. There we got kicked down the door. So anyway, just to be clear, so this theology from the ancient world of the Huansa, that's the Gemini constellation. Just want to be clear here. So when we look up in the heavens and we see the constellation they call Castor and Pollux, it's really Shu and Tefnut, or from the Far East countries, Hu and Sa. Now, Hu again is fire, which represents the spirit, and Sa again is water, which represents the physical part, the matter. That's why I said when you look at the word water and you turn the W around, you get matter. And that's not a play with letters, because the constellation Cassiopeia is a W and an M throughout the night, because she is a circumpolar constellation. So now, again, the symbol is that you as a human being, you're made up of fire and water too, physical and the spirit. The physical, obviously, is what we are looking at here, and it's symbolized by your blood. That's why there's so much blood. Some people way past 70, they say it's like 80 something percent, because even your organs, when you take your organs into account, people tell you, man, you're 90 something percent blood, because your organs is said to be solidified blood. And a long story really, your tissues and muscles, etc. Because they can liquefy, I guess, when one's passed away. But anyway, that's a different level of biology there. But for sure, the equivalent is that with the sea, or with the earth's water, which is mostly seawater. So if it's 80%, 70 to 80% blood in the human, it is 70 to 80% seawater on the planet. So that is showing you that, again, you are one with the earth. That's the point. One of the points, really. We already showed you the link and the spiritual link of Sa with the salinity, and that the seawater salinity is similar to your blood salinity. In fact, the seawater has been used to replace blood. And I'm talking about in the medical world, in emergencies where blood cannot be attained. So it is that serious how close the blood is to the seawater. I've heard one say coconut water too. I definitely wouldn't doubt it, but I know I've read in medical journals that as it relates to the seawater. But the coconut, I surely wouldn't doubt the life power of the coconut water. They say, you can put a leaf of lettuce in the coconut water and it start to grow roots and different things. That's how powerful the coconut water is. Must break the fast with the coconut water more times, not every day, but more times, as much as can be done. So family, follow me good. So just want you to comprehend the story good. So not the story, we're getting forward to that glory story, but the understanding of the who inside the fire and the water as it relates to the eye and relates to the earth, the salinity again. So that is why now, when she looked back at the salty world, because the flesh represents the salty world. 80% of you is salinity, like the seawater, the salty world. That's why Christ walked on the salty world. That's why he walked on the water. He was above the salty world. The salty world is the physical world. Again, the Christ that came through had to deal with all the physical aspects, whether it be hunger, whether it be temptation, whether it be lust, whether it be greed, whether it be pride, anger, whatever it is of the flesh. Because the flesh can be tamed. Yes, when fire and water come together, trust me, the water is lifted up. It's the deep vibes. When you throw water on fire, you see the water rise up in the form of steam. So when the spirit and the physical come together, it carries your physical to higher realms of its own self. Seriously, all of this is in the example I'm giving you here. So, and it is good you understand this before we get back to Oshun. So what I'm saying is that really the physical self now is the salty world. That's why when you're into yourself, you call this, oh, you're too vain. Because you're into the physical world. Vein is where the blood runs. Vein. That's why the mirror Oshun was looking in was called a vanity. Because she was looking in the mirror before, Let me get back to that. Just hold on. I'm coming forward to Oshun. So Lot's wife now, when she came out of the city burning down, the city of the salty world, whatever in the city, all the lower things of life, Sodom, the salty world, the flesh, the lust, whatever come with the flesh and temptation and all, what all the senses pick up. We're not condemning the flesh, because the flesh, as I said, can be lifted up to a higher level with the spirit. Okay. So she was asked not to look back to this world. And when she looked back to the world, she totally became salt. Okay, that means she was totally taken over by what the flesh and pleasure would bring as it relates to this world here. Before I go forward to Oshun, let me show you what I mean when I say the spirit takes the water, or the spirit takes the physical to a higher level. Now again, if you were to have a bushfire and you had a bucket of water, now you have the two elements there, you have the fire and the water, and you were to throw the water on the fire, a good fire burning there, enough to out the fire, it would make a sound. Shh. Now, first of all, shh, from my knowledge, you get this from our scholars like Naim Akbar, those of you who know these scholars, that shh is like the tonal sound for fire in ancient Kemet. Shh. So, shh is fire. Now, that's the sound it makes when water is thrown on fire. Shh. And if you notice, the water that you throw on the fire is out, but the water starts to go up into the heavens in the form of steam, vapor, evaporation, but it's still water. Because when the sun now, without any when the sun, the supreme fire, beats down on the water, all the water, them, even if you put a cup of water outside in the sun will draw that water up to it. You don't even see the water passing you, but the sun is drawing the water up. You wash clothes and put it on the line. You don't just get dry. The sun has drawn the water up to it out of the clothes, because that's what the sun do or does. The spirit, it takes water, the physical world, matter, and brings it to a higher level. So Maim is heaven in Hebrew. Maim is heaven in Hebrew. And if you notice, is fire in a totally different language, and Mayim is water in Hebrew. Fire in Egypt, Mayim water in Hebrew. Mayim is Hebrew for heaven, and is a sound that the fire make when you throw the water on the fire. The water start to go up to heaven as such, meaning that the water, remember water, the nature of water, physical water, drinking water. If you have a cup of water and you turn it upside down, the water not gonna go up nowhere. The water gonna drop to the ground. Water naturally falls. The physical self naturally falls, just fall. Matter naturally falls. But when the spirit, which is the fire, blends with the water, even though the water might out that fire, it appears, the fire gave it enough power to take that water and dry up the place, but send the water up. The water don't disappear, go nowhere. No water dry up nowhere. The water goes up. Even if you map it up, you still have to wring out the map. The water goes up, pulled up by the heat of the sun or the fire that you out the water part of it that you out the fire with, and sent it up. And that is the same thing with you, your physical self. Once you apply the spirit to your physical self, even your physical self will become light, as if you literally being evaporated. That is how flesh can become holy. It can become holy, but you have to apply the spirit to it. Mayim, which is heaven. So that example I gave there, many things in that. Because remember, the fire, it also represents male, and the water also represents female. So even with so the man in general, that's why the man must carry a spiritual torch, a beacon of leadership. I mean, man is both physical and spiritual, just like the woman is both physical and spiritual. But one is the symbol of the physical, and one is the symbol of the spiritual. Just naturally, I'm talking of male and female now. So, Oshun, when Oshun was neglected, by her peers, this is when she went up and sat on the moon, which controls the water of the earth. Rain, everything the moon controls. So that means she took control. We have to understand that, After a while, all the water started to dry up and just left the salt water alone. Nothing else could be drunk. So that 3% of water that I say the earth have to drink. That was gone. Man living the life of pioneer. Trying to find fresh water. No rain, nothing. Everything dried up. The fellas didn't know what to do. They had to go back to Olodumare to figure out what happened. He sent them to make things, to create the earth, and they fail because they kicked the woman out. They run her away. And she went and she looked into her vanity. And she watched herself. You know, I know everyone. Well, I mean, God's creation is beautiful. But I'm speaking as a man. Anyone could observe the beauty of a woman. No, as I said, God's creation is beautiful. But speaking as a man, there's a lot of beauty that the Most High has put in woman in general. Okay. This is something I personally observe. All right. Now, outside of the natural beauty of the woman, and of course, one should do their best to keep beautiful. And you'll be surprised that the best way to keep beautiful is from inside. Number one, a clean heart, a joyful spirit, loving mentality, detoxifying, scrubbing out and washing out inside, eating the right thing, drinking the right things, enough green juice, enough sea vegetables, enough fruits, and exercise, meditation. That brings out the real beauty. Of course, what you use and apply to your external and skin and hair, beauty. You shine. Now, there's another level of beauty when you apply the aesthetics. So you have beauty parlors that do this. I more prefer to align that with pretty than beauty. That is where mostly sisters would go and dolly up themselves. No, most sisters, most, vast majority would apply a lot of aesthetics, different type of aesthetics. Whether it's the hair, most sisters that you see, the vast majority of them that you see, that is not their hair. And I'm not saying this at all in no disrespect, believe me. As you can see, everything is nice and cool here. There's no disrespect at all to the sisters. Just showing you what's really going on. And it is not their hair in most cases. And most sisters would at least do something to their eyebrow. Sisters, if you get some rosemary, sisters, if you get some rosemary, you like pretty eyebrows, eh? Yeah, women tell me that all the time since I'm a little child. Oh, you have wonderful eyebrows. Because they, I guess, semi-bushy, I don't know what it is. Get some rosemary and put it in some natural coconut oil in a nice little bottle. You know, you could crush the rosemary first and put it in. Make it sit there for 21 days. And then after that, use the oil and nice up your eyebrows if you think your eyebrows are losing something. They will grow. They will grow. That same mixture there. I mean, there's so many other things you could use and so many other herbs, you know, that even those who are more expert in the field could come and tell you. But trust me, the little I know, I could show you, that same mixture there, You could put that in, the scalp of your hair, and you don't have to be doing all that stuff and putting in all those fade if it's long hair you want. But you see, the woman like her hair long today, and she like it short tomorrow, and she like it this color this day, and maybe that color tomorrow, whatever the case is, So the colors of the lips, whether it's red or purple, and all different. And if you notice, in Rastafari for sure would um, encourage the natural beauty of the woman, and being the natural beauty definitely without painting up and somewhat hiding. This is not no African tradition where we would decorate our faces. We know those traditions. Now, I'm not comparing this with this one here. Because as I always say, the red lipstick and the red nail polish is symbolic. It is very symbolic of the cannibalistic um, people that have taught us to do this. And I'm speaking now of the concept of what Marcus Garvey would have taught us. Marcus Garvey clearly said that when they were in the caves of Europe, eating their own dead and living with rats and bats and all other insects, we were already unraveling the mysteries of the stars. So I'm just talking reality. No one need be offended. You see when a lion have a zebra and them fellas digging into that, and when the lion look up to take a picture for National Geographic, the whole face full with blood, all the mouth full up with blood, and all the claws full up with blood. That's real. So when the cannibals from the cave used to eat their own dead and anything they catch outside before they learn how to cook, that's how they would look. You got to keep in mind, and we did a program a few days ago. I think that's the one we were talking about, the Jewish people who wish they were Jews, where we were making a very key point. When you study history properly, Europeans are very strong on tradition. Enough of them things that we keep up to today is European tradition that they bring from the homeland up to today, whether it's kissing under the mistletoe, uh, jumping through the chimney, or don't walk under the ladder, or don't put your hat on the table. Whatever it is they do or don't do, break the wishbone into. All of these things are some old, olden, wooden philosophy and folklore that comes from the winterland. A lot of what we keep up. Yeah. So putting ketchup on the is a symbol of that cannibalistic mentality. So that means you're done getting it rare or semi-rare or however they call this stuff, and you still gonna put more blood on it. Yes, you may have natural ketchup. I'm not talking about natural ketchup now. I'm talking about the idea of making the ketchup stuff. You know, you know when we first became italists, I think it's 2 or 3 times I ever ate what they call chunks. Chunks is something that it looks like meat. You check? And my mother is the first person ever cooked chunks, so she was assisting me in my vegetarian endeavors. Give thanks. Listen, Lord. But chunks look like meat. So it's the psychology that goes with it too. It's a very deep psychology you have to understand. So the blood on your hamburger, even on your veggie burger, symbolic. No, I mean, if you know that and then you can go beyond that and you're eating a veggie burger that you create and you make a nice ketchup sauce. Well, I guess you've gone over that with the understanding, but you don't know how deep that affects the psyche of many of us unawares. Psychology is a serious thing, unawares. So the same way they put the blood on the chicken leg, when you see you red up your lips, you know me make it up. It's symbolic. It's symbolic of the blood on the lips. Why is it red? Yeah, nowadays it's purple and green and all sorts of things, but we know the standard color for lipstick originally is the blood color. We know that. And the fingernails too. Because those who originated this used to have a lot of red lips and red claws because of how they were living. Oh my, it's just the truth. I will repeat again, a lot of what we keep up as tradition, everything from the way we part our hair, nothing is coming down from some European folklore. Houses we live in, phrases we use, top of the morning to you, and all of that stuff. Yeah. It's coming from such a feel like that. So I'm saying all of that to say now that the sisters, the sister is not condemning them, the sisters in vast majority are checking for their beauty, especially in the aesthetic world, in the additional world, in the, put on something, powder up your face world, in the, mark out the eyebrow world and add on some eyelashes world. Oh my, wow. Put on the eyelashes world and how much earring world and false hair world and a lot of that. I think that is symbolic of Oshun. And all I was saying for tonight, I hope you would have taken in, especially those who have been here and still here. As I know people coming in and going out, coming in, going out. Some people just coming in. Somebody just say, hey, the priest live. Yeah. Well, I've always been live. I've never known myself any other how but been live. So we definitely live. But what I'm saying with Oshun now, Oshun represent all woman. Remember in that Isaiah chapter 3, it was a woman like that being described. A woman that was just running with the times and, in Isaiah chapter 3 family, when you go to Isaiah chapter 3, it talks about the daughter of Zion. And it specifies because all of the man of righteousness, all of the eloquent orators, all of the chief priests and prophets, all of the great mighty warriors, they were all cast down according to Isaiah chapter 3. And the staff and the bread and the water was taken away from Israel. Bread is food, water is water, your substance and industry and all of that taken away from Israel according to Isaiah chapter 3. And because of that, it says that the woman went astray. It's Isaiah chapter 3, eh? And Isaiah chapter 3 spent a lot of ink and paper to explain her apparel. That was one of the main things highlighted in Isaiah chapter 3, how she was dressing. Read it good. And how she was moving and how she was mincing as she walked. And her earrings and her anklets and her bracelets tinkling as she moves. Just trying to recall, some of the highlights, and her whimpers and her mufflers and her bonnets, and her neck braces, and describes all of this, because at the end of Isaiah chapter 3, it goes on to say that, none of this really helped her, because what she thought was sweet smell became stinkness. Hear what it says. What she thought was well-plaited hair became baldness. And she lamented and sat in her gates mourning. That's how Isaiah was describing the daughter of Zion, specifically in Isaiah chapter 3. But before we go to reach to all that part, the point is that prior to that, he was showing you how she was flexing. And he gave a reason why the woman was flexing. So that's the woman of today, straight up. He explained why she was flexing. So because all the great man of war has fallen. All the eloquent orators, all the administrators, all the priests and prophets, everybody was gone. So she, who would have, depended on that defense. I mean, a woman is a mother, a woman not supposed to be a mother and a father. But there are many of sisters that have been both mothers and fathers. I mean, some of you would have been raised by some of them kind of people there who was both mother and father. And although you may say, which I agree, a woman not supposed to be wearing jeans, especially them tight jeans and so. No, man. But the pants is a symbol of the man, The pants is the symbol of the man. That's why that's not that we need to them flex there. The pants is the symbol of the man. But you must admit, enough woman had to take up the man role. Naturally take up the man role because the man absent. You were vexed with her to take up the man role. Some of us wouldn't be here if our mothers didn't play the Virgin Mary role and take up the man role because of the absence of the father. Not me. I give thanks for my father every time I have to bring up them subject, as he was definitely, he did what he did his job. Give thanks. He's of course gone to another level now. But it's reality that we all know of, So the absence of the man and the woman step up and just pull up the strings, work two jobs and all of these different things. Some of us live that and see that. You understand? I know brethren that say, hey, look, I taking care of my children, them, because my papa never take care of me. I guess it work out to encourage you one way or the other. But so I'm saying that the absence of that real man, it don't mean like man disappear, the man's still there. But the enemy has killed the man inside the man. So when you hear he call us boy, no for no joke, it's boys he making out of us, It's boys he making out of us, In slavery, when you see they come to your house, and they knock on the door, and they say, Jim, you in there? Yes, Master Bob. All righty. I heard today's Charlene's birthday. How old is that little wench today? She's only 12, Master Bob. 12 sounds good. What do you say, Luke? Sounds good to me. All right, Jim, bring her out. No, I said bring her out, Jim. Master Bob, I will not allow you to go with my daughter. What you say, nigger? I said I will not allow you to go with my daughter. I thought that's what you said. You're a crazy nigga, as if you have a choice. Break the door down. And then they take Jim and they carry Jim and they strip off Jim clothes and they beat Jim to the inch of death and just spare his life. And they make sure they do that in front of the same liquor Charlene that they still will rape, by the way. And maybe just rape the rest of the family for good old time's sake, since Jim felt that he was some big nigga around here. And the thing is, Jim kind of tried to stand up. That's a very mystic thing, When a woman have to see that, no matter how much blows Jim would have received, we sympathize for Jim. But Charlene and all the other women folk would have seen and come to some realization that Jim can't protect them. Not that they don't love Daddy Jim or anything, but he just can't protect them. Even up to today, as black man in general, we can't protect nobody. We ain't got no power. Anybody can kick down the door. Any authority can just call on you. You have to toe the line and make sure you walk proper. Which one of us have any army or anything? So in reality, when the man is brought so low in front of the woman, the woman realizes that, nah, man, I can't make Master Bob break down my door again. So she now, whether it's a pistol she gonna get or she gonna sharpen the cutlass, because she can't depend on Jim. And that has been the story up to today. You think it's by mistake the system set it away? You know what I mean? Of course, again, well, I mean, we're not downplaying the woman. The woman is extremely intelligent, but this system set it away to make sure they put, especially in places like the US, to make sure they put the black woman specifically in a specific position higher than her man. Knowing by nature, and by pride, the man is the provider for the woman. Naturally, nothing wrong. The woman provided. Nobody into them madness, Don't get me wrong, because I know where some minds will go. But it's a teamwork. That's our nature, to work as a team. We provide. The Bible said that. The Bible said that the righteous woman in the woman provide food for her children. So don't let's get overthrown here in our thoughts. But by nature, it's just natural that the woman naturally looks to the man. The woman see the man as God, It's God the woman see the man as it. Whether she know it as or not, it's God she really looking for you. Even if she have a man and she don't really see him as God, but it's him, I don't feel that way. But it's God. The woman really seeking for God. That's why they flock up in the church. Jesus Christ is God. You know what I mean? It's sad when your woman love Jesus Christ more than you. That's a heavy thing, family. Oh my mercy. That's terrible, eh? That's why you supposed to be the God. You supposed to be the God. Eh? Who you think this is? If you're not the God, Rasta, work on yourself. You hear me? If you are not the God, work on yourself. Yeah. Because your woman supposed to know is God she with. Straight up. Why you miss Psalms 82? Ye all gods, children of the most high God. So make yourself a God, Rasta. What you waiting on? They come in different shapes and sizes, eh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have to explain this to the preachers. So really now, look at what you have here. The God now, the God figure. What was that?
Powder that grows here, an African powder from Chad. It's
here,
called the cherry powder.
The cherry powder.
Chebe.
Yes.
Oh, that. Chebe.
Chebe. Oh man, we're getting some good information here. That was from the conversation earlier. Cherry powder from Chad, and it's good for growing the hair. You say?
Yes.
Look it up. Chebe powder. Wonderful stuff. All right. You see, give thanks for the Honorable Princess Acacia Menen giving us that information there. You see what we're saying there. All right, powerful stuff. So yes, the woman, looking for the God figure. So when the God is absent, Rasta, in general, remember Isaiah 3 says that Israel was taken into captivity and they had their bread taken away, their water taken away, their staff taken away. That's us in captivity. And because, there's no great man to be found, that shepherding power that we carry over the woman folk is actually not there. woman is a good judge of a man. Eh? The man, the woman, and the woman know that we wasting time. Eh? All them woman they know it's time them man wasting. The man just wasting time. The man just wait. You think when you as a bunch of men sit around and there are woman sitting with you, you don't think the woman them watching you and scrutinizing you properly? Man, if it's one thing with woman know who is a waste of time as a man who eat. They just talking. They waste time. Them there. Yeah. Straight up. The woman is a good judge of I and I. Me personally, I feel as man we kind of waste time plenty. You know, as people in general, for the kind of I don't know, we are sitting ducks in this captivity here, in this captivity zone. Our fathers taught us everything and we just here sitting ducks. You understand? So Oshun on the moon with her vanity checking out her beauty. To me is the woman today. To me, that's what most women into. They're just on the moon. Today they're having purple hair. Tomorrow they're having orange hair. The next day, over here purple and over here orange. Then high heel shoes destroying their spine. All the aesthetics, pretty eyelashes, different colors, all sorts of colors of nobody else do that. No man move like this unless he's a sissy. Nobody else. That's what I mean to call him. I don't care. Take down the video if you want. Nobody else move like that. But you see, again, the woman represents Oshun, and them woman has been neglected. Is neglect, we neglect the woman, the Rasta. Not only neglect now, we as man have not stood up in our God space. Not because we're Rastafari, we still miss it. We as man has not put on the divine armor. So just like Isaiah say, all the great men of war have gone. And the system set it so too. I mean, you know how much of I and I in prison as black man around the world, not just in the USA, around the world. In the USA, it's something else. The highest percentage, the highest population of prisoners in general in the world is in the most safe and peaceful holy place, the USA. You understand? 51% of the inmates in prison are black people. 51% of the inmates in prison are black people. And black people make up 14 or so percent of the population. Do the maths. And 51% of them black. And 97% of that is black man. So you could see the war is on. So you can see millions of our black brothers just in cage. The vast majority of them for nothing. Get them off the street. Get them off the street. So children born today, man, them people don't know, hey, half of them must be in jail by tomorrow. Enough brethrens in jail, have children outside, wives outside, girlfriend outside, girlfriend gone with some other man, wife, you don't even know what's going on. Real thing. This is reality, eh? That's how the world run, eh? That's how the world run. That look like anything that can keep any stability in a nation and the family structure of a nation going. Talk about freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So this is why again, when we in them circumstances and we still neglecting the value of the sisters, because that's what happening here. We ourselves weak. We don't fall by the wayside. The system done set to entrap us. Those of us who not in the prisons as such, we in our own mental prison out here. Because I tell you, the woman, whether she know it or not, she looking for God Almighty, not Oden. Whether you know it or not, sisters, is Christ you want in your life. Straight up. Christ. And because I and I not pushing that as man in general, I believe that is what fulfilling Isaiah chapter 3. And that is what happened to Oshun. Remember, Oshun was sent to earth by the chief man, creation of all things. But the brethren were giving her rightful place. They were not giving her the position that she was supposed to have. So she said, all right. And she walked away from them. And she went on the moon and just started to admire her beauty. That's all she went into, admiring her beauty. And because of that, everything started to sink. Everything started to crumble. And they didn't get it back in order until they called her from the moon and apologized. Because I had to say sorry, you know. They had to apologize, and she tell them to make it happen again. Far right, that's a very serious thing, eh? Trust me, I know we just listen to this and then go sleep. And boy, a nice program tonight. This is a serious thing. We don't have to form no group to do this. We don't have to wait on nobody. We don't have to say this man wasting time. This is something that is internal. Both man and woman have to do this. We need to see the value of the feminine being. Very important. I wonder if you hear what I say. Man and woman, not just the man, you know. The sisters too need to see. If some of them sisters would really see the value who they would be, man, hey, they don't push enough, man. Not push them aside, but listen, be on the real front line. Real front line kicking down doors, said we. And wake up some of us as brethren. We argue, we talk, we're cutthroats, we backstab, we burn the house down. I'm talking about us as man as such. Burn the house down each and every time. That's how it is. We like to go to war. Ego, big chest, and who have the most, and who can do the most, and who sound the most, and all of the most. Because they're wired differently. So this is why, not just in the worship, you know, in all aspects of life. Yeah, man. Brethren, is a joy, you know, to absorb pure, natural, feminine energy. Eh? It's a joy when you could be comfortable in pure, natural, feminine energy and utilize it properly and bring in that balance. It's all about appreciation. Eh? It's not just because the woman is the nurturer and she bring forth life. I mean, okay, we say that many times, that covered and covered and covered. But we wired different. There's a certain level of passion in her. There's a certain level of compassion in her as well. So when King Emmanuel say that you must put the woman in front, that's King Emmanuel. We all as Bobo Shanti, we repeat that all the time. King Emmanuel say must put the woman in front. So what is putting in front all about? And as I said again, these revolutionary ideas. When King Emmanuel said that, even the forming of the Empress Freedom Liberation League, you know, in the 1980s, when these things were done, the woman was not in no real position on the planet. When King Emmanuel said, put the woman in front, that was a revolutionary statement. Man, if the feminist people did get wind of that, I sure they would have fly down to meet the God. Maybe they did, and I don't know. Yeah, put the woman in front. And that specifically, you know, when the Honorable Priest Aitafa was with us, you know, at the same time, he was clearly showing that that was when Queen Elizabeth came. And there was, I don't know if it was him personally, I think it was him trying to give a letter to her. and the god kind of stopped him, and something of the sort. Um, and it was one of the young princesses that got the letter to reach to her, or it was a next occasion where, but whatever the case is, because of that, according to the priest, King Emmanuel said, "Hey, you have to put the woman in front, and you know, like woman to woman, especially when it came to Queen Elizabeth, and even when it comes to marching to King's house to chant for redemption and repatriation. That's why on some of those videos, King's house, you see the Bubble woman chanting and chanting and carrying the service, all that, you know. Bubble Shanti woman does chant the Naya Bingi, like priests. You understand? So when ones does be saying, trying to condemn I vibes, I don't know where else you see that happen. When seven women line up and man playing the drum for them and they chant in the service, you know what I mean, and going in Zion and running the show. But you get that strong on Emancipation Day as well, where the woman, and then now King Emmanuel also teach the woman to band their belly with a black cloth, some say black string, but when it's a string, it's not a thread, it's more like a ropey kind of thing, black cloth, and chant and wail and chant for the freedom of their youths and freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So all of that, you could see that again is the energy and the power that the woman have. Because it's a different energy, it's not the energy of the male. It's a different frequency, you know, and even how they release certain morpho genetic fields, you know. The woman more has a circular expression from her womb, from the from the whole vaginal area. There's a circular sort of feel of energy, and the man has the same energy, but it's more in the form of like the planetary, more on a disc shape uh, genetic field. So the makeup is different, but the both of them are needed, with high understanding. And when she's neglected, as I said, it's almost like Lot's wife looking back at the city of salt and turning to the pillar of salt, meaning that she just make her vanity, her vainness, herself take over her. Go on the mountain or go on the moon and look in the mirror all day long, and all the sweet water dry up. You understand? You see, so all of these we can talk all day long and say, oh, these are these are stories that have a deeper meaning. We will never know. Yes, we will know. No, don't do that to yourself. We like to say, boy, we'll never know. What do you mean we will never know? There's enough things I hear people say, nobody knows that I know. I just hear people say, boy, I read this, I see that. Look at this thing here in that book. Wow, watch that star, boy. Boy, I want to know what that means. Boy, we'll never know. What do you mean we'll never know? We will never know. I can explain to you what it is. So don't put yourself down that low level. Anything you have rediscovered, you can know because you were the one that put it there, maybe in a different lifetime. Never, belittle yourself or put down yourself or put yourself on a level below who you are. Life giver and the keeper of life. King Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Very groovy evening, As I said, we are celebrating the birthday of Empress Menen. Those of you who just came in, let me just highlight to you, definitely we are having the prize giving ceremony, just to keep you a bit up to date. We are having the prize giving ceremony for the African History Month essay competition. That, of course, this being year number 9, since we have been doing this essay competition. So we'll be having that ceremony on Thursday, the 7th of April. And as I highlighted earlier, we definitely have three winners, and of course, the different prizes. Of course, I expected you all to have different prizes, for sure. Number one, um, this is basically, you could say, the first place prize. This is a Dell laptop, brand new, already set forward for the young. All the winners are female, by the way. All the winners are young princesses. So that is going in well accordance to the discussion this evening. Also, for another, as I said, we will announce the names even via the news. We have an Android tablet, and of course, a beautiful Fire 7. And for these are for the young ones who would have written their essay competition. Family, this evening to, oh yes, and of course we have some wonderful books as well that are quite aligned to the curriculum in biology and mathematics and language arts. And just reminding you, family, remember our international homeschool program. Remember, we are offering language arts at this moment. And again, for those who would not have received the message, if you are already a part of the international homeschool program, you will get the language arts for free. Virtual language arts for free, literally sitting for free. Now, at the same time, remember we have the biology and the African history and heritage classes. All you have to do is just contact us. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, and get your young ones enrolled in our homeschool program as it relates to African history and heritage. Just showing you some of the other gifts here. We had a few other items here, and so just giving everyone an idea of what is taking place as it relates to re-Africanizing the young ones and making sure they have a better understanding of what it is going forward. I did a wonderful interview with a brother Damien um, Benjamin. He was installed as a chief in Ghana, and he's now known as Brother Kwesi. That's Brother Kwesi. A wonderful interview I did with Brother Kwesi. That's Brother Kwesi, the chief from, well, he was born right here in Antigua, but he was installed as a chief in Ghana. Very interesting interview. And I'm sure most of you would love to hear that interview. So, what you can do, we will be repeating that interview right now after the Tiger's Nest as we seal up. All you have to do is go over to Radio Anu. The link is in the description below. Just scroll down and press Radio Anu, and you will, in a few moments, you will hear that beautiful interview that we did with Brother Kwesi. And hey, what I'm saying, even if you're watching this on a rebroadcast, you should still go to Radio Anu. No matter what is running on Radio Anu, Radio Anu is the place to be for all the knowledge and information. So, family, give thanks. Even before you step out, just press the like button for I and give it some upgrades, and definitely let's carry it to another level. I'm very thankful. Just press the thumbs up. Just press it, give thanks. And of course, it will definitely carry it a bit further. I really appreciate your presence, and I pray that the information was up to par. Life given the keep of life. Join me on Radio Anu right now, family. Just press the link and come on over. And of course, for those who are already on Radio Anu, you don't go anywhere. I am right there with you. Let me just say a blessed love and guidance to the YouTube family. And I am still here with the family on Radio Anu for a few moments before I bring that interview with Brother Kwesi. Yes, I give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, King Selassie, Jah Rastafari. All right, give